This is the second video about Hugh MacDiarmid. Hugh MacDiarmid was a pseudonym. In 1922, the poet began to use the pseudonym MacDiarmid with verse in Scots, the language that once thrived in Scotland, both in the vernacular and in literary works, before Scotland's 1701 union with England. It fragmented into regional dialects and was subject to social prejudices. Its prose development was aborted. Its poetic revival in the 18th century, culminating in the work of Burns, was inevitably restricted in range, noted Kenneth Berkeley in an essay for the Dictionary of Literary Biography. In the post-Burns era, no genuine literary revival for the language occurred, for Scots was used by only a few 19th century poets. None of them were very well regarded. When MacDiarmid began using Scots words in his verse, the practice seemed to free his creative spirit. He combed dictionaries and other Scots sources for inspiration. One of the first poems to emerge from this effort was The Water Girl. The Water Girl. Now, I don't think I have the Water Girl here with me, but I have another poem by him because I read out already. I have the Water Girl. Okay. A vid fornigt I det ljuddrammar, I saw en engine thing. A vertigo vid its chittering licht, a yonder unding. And I thought the last wird look ye gid, afore ye did. There was nee reek in the leverocks hose that nicht, and the name I mean mine, but I hate talked oh that foolish licht ever since sign. And I think that maybe at last I can what your Luke meant then. So to interpret such verses, one needs to have a Scots dictionary, or at least to consult certain literary pieces written about MacDiarmid. MacDiarmid's poetry is often characterized as lyrical, argumentative, polemical, and contradictory. Unable to believe, as V.H. showed indeed, that poetry makes nothing happen, MacDiarmid in 1926 stated that the function of art is the extension of human consciousness. When he published Diard, he noted, I turned from the poetry of beauty to the poetry of wisdom, that is to say, the poetry of moral and intellectual problems and the emotions they generate. Writing in Hugh MacDiarmid, Berkeley called MacDiarmid's later poets, such as that contained in Memoriam James Joyce, the poetry of information. Okay, the early poetry of MacDiarmid, according to Jan Crichton, began like Blake with lyrics which contain a fusion of the intellect and feeling which is highly unusual and at times hallucinatory.